Hey guys, how are we doing tonight? How's everybody doing? Sorry, I was trying to get my notes up there. It's something really weird is happening. So on my YouTube, I was just happened to I pushed the wrong live and I went into last night's live and I was like, oh, that's really strange. There's only 7 likes on this video. And we have a lot more people that like the video than that. And I went to another video and it said the same thing. It said like 6 likes or 7 likes. It's really weird. Any live that I go to, I'm just going to go to yeah, they're all reading the same thing. So very strange. If you guys can, if anyone wants to check on your side, let me know what y'all see because that's weird. Maybe YouTube's doing an update or something, but yeah, I'm like, that's really weird. I know you guys always hit the like button. Always. We usually will get more likes than we have people in the chat, which is awesome. I love that. So hopefully you guys are all doing well. How are you doing, Reba? Hey, Jan. Hey, Isabel. Hey, Otto. I saw a bunch of people in here. Hey, Holly. We're going to talk Alec Murdaugh tonight. And tomorrow night, we are going to talk a new case, Preston Lord. I wanted to get some more information and be able to really dive in deep to that case, and get all the information that I can get you guys for that one because we were talking about it on our live last night. So, well, good. I'm glad you're doing good. Hey, Yankee Kyle, how you guys doing? Everybody's doing good today. Hopefully. I have my dog tonight. She decided to come in here. She came in to sit on the chair and I just cleaned it. So I was like, let me put the blanket on there. And she just decided to stay. So I'm like, cool. I've got a partner tonight. I've got a sidekick other than Nancy. I have Nancy dressed for winter. If you couldn't tell, she's got her winter scarf on. And I have some of the decorations up. So, and I'm doing something with this. I don't know yet. So. I didn't know if you were going to tell everybody, Reba. So, yeah, let me highlight her comment. So, our girl Reba went and got married on us. So, I'm going to show you the picture. She looks so pretty too. I wasn't sure if you're going to say anything. So, I was like I was going to wait till you said something. That's why I was like, how you doing, Reba? How's Reba doing? That's what I was getting at. Let me see. Oh, I think it was this message. There they are. I think these are such cute pictures. Look at them. Oh, you guys are cute. Okay, let me put this one up. Did it take them all? Oh, you gave me I think you gave me 3 in a row, didn't you? Hold on. I don't know if it'll I don't want to dox you though. Let me see if I can open just the picture. It'll say your name on it though. No, it won't. Okay, never mind. I found the pictures. I found the pictures. I was like, I didn't want to open. I was going to open the last one you sent me, but I'm glad that I looked. Oh, you guys are so cute. Look at these ones. Oh, okay. I was like, oh wait, that has your name. I didn't show it though. Okay, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Let me make sure. Let me take this one and put this one up. And then this one we'll delete. But look at you look so happy in these when you sent me these. They made my day. Let me see if I can get another one up here. But yeah, you went and got married on us. And where are you guys at here? I think these are so cute. You guys look really happy. You look so happy. And I think that's the coolest thing. You just ran off and did it. New Orleans, that's really cool. That's real cool. Well, congratulations. I think that's amazing. I think it's amazing. And you look beautiful. And I love those boots. Those are really cute. And you can wear those into winter. Can't beat that. I love stuff that you can always wear again. We've been in love since I was at 15. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. You guys, that really made my day. I was waiting on him to come in because she told me she was going to do it. And then I was like, oh, she's going to go elope. It's fun. So I was trying to not say anything or not, let the chat know. But I asked a couple of nights ago, I was like, was Reba in here? Really? Those are $5 at a thrift store. That's what I'm talking about. $25 for the dress. That's the best. You know, that's like the best. I think you look so cute. You look so cute. Childhood sweethearts. That's the best. That's the best. Well, congratulations to you guys. I hope you guys have many, many, many years, all the years in the world, you know, of happiness and wealth and health and all of that good stuff. And I'm here, you know, I'm here. So yeah, if you guys need anything, just let me know. I love that. I love that. Mia said back there, she said congratulations too. Oh, thanks, Cat's Life. I thought you meant me. She's talking about Reba. I'm like, thanks, Cat's Life. I thought you meant me. She's like, you look cute. I'm like, thanks. She wasn't talking about me. She's talking about Reba. She said, we will. It's going to be hard work. So, you know, the best things in life are not free, you know. That's what they say. Actually, I think they say are free, but they're not. They're really not. You know, my mom used to, I think I said this on the live last night. I think I said, my mom used to say that relationships are easy, but marriages are work because you have to work to, she's like, you got that piece of paper telling you, y'all better work on this, you know? And so that's, my parents always worked everything out. So thanks, Cat's Life. She said, you are cute, Tony. I was like, dang it. I'm actually, this shirt that I'm wearing tonight, Christy Gonzalez has the same one. I saw her in it in an interview last year, and I was like, I have that shirt. And then she wore another one, the same. I have like 4 of these same shirts, but they're just different colors. And I think that was the green one, and she wore it in green on another interview. And I was like, I have that shirt. So I was like, that's kind of ironic. Your God puppy there. Yeah, there you go. Don't give us that. We'll be like pretending like something happened. So we can get rid of the dog for a little bit. Just kidding. We love her. We love her. Doodle mom. I love that. Oh, she said, hello, Tanya, chat, and to the lurkers. So needed a Tanya fix, and I'm very cranky today, and you've always bring me up. Thank you. You're so amazing, and your laugh makes me smile. Bless your heart. Well, bless you. Well, bless you. I'm glad that I do that for you guys. You guys help me. You guys help me out. I actually went to the, before we get started, I haven't even said my name or anything, but I went to the dentist today. And I think we're probably going to have to pull that tooth that I really didn't want pulled. But I'm okay with it because I just want to get whatever it is that's, you know what I mean, the infection. We just need to get it out. So she's going to talk with her instructor. So there is still a little bit of hope. But she's a doctor, I think, in residency. So she's going to talk to her instructor. And then if the instructor says, hey, let's take a look with the microscope, there's another test they can do. If not, then they're going to have to pull it. Now I'm like, okay, what can we do there? Because that's in the front. It's too close to the front. And that's just me, just my thing. And till I can get a permanent. And I even asked him, I said, can I get a permanent there? Because where my metal is, guys, I should, I'll have to show you guys a picture someday, but my tooth is literally sitting almost right on the metal. And so I was like, how would you put a metal implant in? And she's like, that's a good question. So they may have to do is a bridge, do a bridge there, but whatever they got to do. Yeah, although I was really hoping that it was going to be I was really hoping it was going to be good news, but I kind of knew I can feel there's some pain there a little bit. But I'm so numb from having the metal implant put in that I don't feel it. So it's very strange, but they're going to get it pulled. I don't know when, hopefully soon. I'm thinking before the beginning of the year, because the students go out for 4 weeks, which I could probably keep this tooth how it is for a little while. I mean, it doesn't bother me, but I don't want to do that. I just would rather get the infection out. I probably would feel a lot better because I've been feeling kind of fatigued and stuff. So me too. Yeah. I'm worried about the infection. And she told me if I need antibiotics or anything, let her know. And I was like, no, I'm cool for now. It's not swollen or anything. But when she was messing with it around the gum line, it hurt. I could feel it today. I was like, oh, I could feel that, guys. So it was just a very painful. But as soon as I think if it's out and the infection's out, I'll feel better. And I might not feel so nasally and stuff too. You got a bridge on your front teeth? Oh my gosh. See, Doodle Mom can do it. I can do it. I could do it. It'll be fine. Because I'd rather have it done and not feel any pain. You know what I mean? Because remember when I was in all that pain before, I was in so much pain. I'm going to put this up and then take it down. But I was in so much pain. I was putting clove oil. Like I was turning my camera off and being like, hold on, and putting clove oil on there for a minute and then taking it off and then coming back on, which was crazy because I was putting it on the wrong tooth. You have that too. So I don't know if they'll be able to do it same day, but I know that they'll be able, if they can't do it same day, they'll give me there's a thing that they can give you for cosmetic reasons. It's not covered by insurance. So it's like $500, $600. But she said that that's a possibility, like if I wanted that. And so what I would probably do is if I didn't do that, because I probably wanted to heal or whatever, I probably just wouldn't turn my camera on for like a couple of days, and then just turn it back on. I probably wouldn't even care. I mean, because I don't think you'll really be able to see it. I don't know. But I'm just, but anyway, thanks for letting me complain about my dental problems. You did clove at first too, Doodle Mom says. I keep saying Doodle Bug Mom. I keep thinking I'm putting, there's Doodle Bug. I'm putting both names, I feel like, in my head. I don't know if I'm saying it out loud, but I'm putting them in my head the same. Doodle Mom and Doodle Bug. I hope that they just give me something that like calms me, which I have actually something from the last dentist that I didn't take because they didn't end up pulling the tooth. So I think I'll just take that before I go in and try to be calm because I hate dental work. Clove works though. If anyone out there is having any toothaches, I'm telling you, you guys told me in the chat and Vincent went and got me clove oil and it worked. They give you these little cotton balls with it and you put them on there, put it on your tooth for like a minute and it feels better. Oh, I'm sorry, Ashley. She's going to shower and lay down. Oh, I get like that too. Some months where I just don't feel very good. And that's, man, I'm just excited about Reba getting married too. I'm excited about everything. So we're just going to go ahead and rewind this like 13 minutes we're in. But my name's Tanya or TitaniumBuilt. If you don't know my name, I say that all the time because I'm really bad about looking at my notes. And I'm like, you're going to concentrate on those notes tonight. And then I don't. But if you're new to the channel, I hope you appreciate tonight's case coverage. And if you do, hopefully you'll subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and hopefully we'll get past 6 likes because I don't know what's going on with YouTube tonight. But let me see if we're actually over it on my side now. Like if I go in on this live. But yeah, YouTube is being really funny tonight. Nope, it's just reading 7. What is it reading for you guys on your side? If you could tell me what the live likes are. Because mine's reading 7 everywhere. And I know that I'm like, that's not 25. See, that's so weird. Isabel. Okay. It's just my iPad. Maybe I did update it. Or I don't know if I updated it. Maybe I do need to update it. Very weird. That's so weird. Yeah. Like all of mine are saying 7. YouTube, stop messing with me. So tonight we're going to go ahead and we're going to go over some Alec Murdaugh. I'm going to go ahead and paste the channel membership into the chat. If you guys would like to become a member, we would love to have you guys become members. It really helps the channel grow and it helps me out as a content creator. So we'd love to have you. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Ashley. Let me, I'm going to turn my camera off for just a second. So I'm going to grab my drink. I wish I would have grabbed actually a water. Injections of anesthesia. I would rather have that anesthesia, an injection of anesthesia. They give me a medicine. I've never had the gas before. Medicine doesn't affect me like it should. I'm very, I don't know how to explain it, but it takes a lot to put me down. Like they usually have to give me a lot during surgeries and stuff too. But when they gave me that medication at the dentist, I took it and it didn't do a thing. I was like freaking out. That was the day they were like, we're going to pull 6 of your teeth. And I was like, what? That day. I was like, this medicine isn't working. And they were like, yeah, we can see that. So Danielle Becker Friedland, I wanted to tell you guys about that. The woman that we were talking about last night on the live, if you guys are just now joining us also, she was a lady that we were talking about on the live last night that went into Houston airport, checked her bags in, but never departed. Well, her family has made contact with her, so they have found her. I heard it was through credit cards. She was using credit cards to stay at a hotel. But and anyway, they did find her around 2:30 in the morning, and she's physically she's fine. So maybe it was a mental break, because she did just leave an inpatient facility in Arizona. She was heading back home to California, and they cleared her to go home. And this happened. I don't know what's going to happen with that center for allowing her, like giving her the okay to leave. And then this happens right after she leaves. Like, she doesn't even make it on the airplane. She makes it to the airport and just changes her mind. I don't know. But yeah, she's okay. So she's physically okay. I think mentally, maybe that's what it is. It's a mental break. But yeah, I wanted to give you guys that update. And then we're going to cover it. Like I said, we're going to cover Preston Lord tomorrow. And I'm waiting on I put in a FOIA request. I hope I emailed the right lady. I emailed the clerk of courts. And I haven't heard back from them, but it was like right before, I think, the holiday I wrote them. So I'm waiting on them, and I heard that they're kind of slow. So we will have a Chelsea Grimm update whenever I get some of those documents that I've been waiting on. Oh, thanks, Steve. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the likes things. That's weird. Maybe it's my iPad. Maybe I just need to like exit out of YouTube and come back in or something. It's probably something like weird like that. So tonight we're going to go ahead and discuss Alec Murdaugh and the possibility of him maybe getting a new trial for the deaths of Maggie and Paul. On our last live over this case, or just Alec Murdaugh in general, we were watching the House of what was it called? The Fall. Let me see. I have my notes. I think it was called The Fall of the House of Murdaugh. Fall of House of Murdaugh. It was supposed to be like a 3-part series. We were watching it off of Fox Nation, but they ended up making it into a 4-part series because all of this new information came out. So we watched the Fall of the House of Murdaugh, and we heard from the Colleton County Clerk of Court, Becky Hill, in that interview. So tonight we're going to hear Nancy Grace's point of view and her opinion, on the possibility of Alec getting a new trial. Now, I don't know if y'all saw it. He did go to court today or yesterday, I'm sorry, for his sentencing for his financial crimes, and JLR was in the gallery. It was just funny. I never see him with his hat off, so it took me a minute before I realized who it was. But yeah, she was there. So she's also, and then Nancy's also going to cover the death of Stephen Smith. So before we listen to that, I was going to go over this article with you guys, and we'll watch his sentencing, just like a shorter, like just the sentencing part of his hearing from yesterday. House of Gucci. That could be it. Remember the Gucci receipt? I'm still wondering about that. Remember the $1,200 Gucci receipt they found in the trash? I'm just wondering, was it Maggie's? Was it Paul's? Was it Alex? I've been wondering that. Still wondering it. Probably will never get an answer to that. Maybe I could write Alec. He likes to talk. The guy likes to talk. I'm surprised no one's probably trying to reach out to him on YouTube. I mean, really, like, he does like to speak. But yeah, if you guys want to watch the House of Murdaugh, and you don't have Fox Nation, I do have them on my playlist right now. So there's 4 episodes. There was only going to be 3, and I was like, very interesting, because the first one, Buster came out and talked, and I thought that one was really good too. I thought they all were. And then the second one, Alec came out and talked. Remember, from behind bars, and he got caught for it, got in trouble, got his iPad taken. So, I mean, that family's ruthless. They all are, but he really is. He is. So I'm going to go over this article, and it's just going to kind of break down everything for us. Let me get back into the chat over here so I can see what's going on. And thank you guys for being here tonight. I appreciate it. If you guys don't mind just taking a second to hit the like button, even though I can't see it, I'll see it whenever it refreshes. I can see it now. Look at that. Just needed to close that out and go back in. I just closed out the whole browser. So, oh man. But it said, there he is right there. But this one's from his trial. So, Alec Murdaugh, the disgraced former South Carolina attorney serving 2 life sentences for the M's of his wife and son, was sentenced to another 27 years in prison on Tuesday after pleading guilty to nearly 24 state financial crimes, including money laundering, breach of trust, conspiracy, forgery, and tax evasion. He's got a lot on his plate. Like a lot of charges. Murdaugh pleaded guilty earlier this month in a deal that prosecutor Creighton Waters of the South Carolina Attorney General's office said would ensure Murdaugh remained in state prison for a very long time. Prosecutors asked for the 27 years in prison, which Waters said would be independent of the 2 sentences of life without parole he is already serving. Murdaugh, 55, must serve at least 85% of that time, so that'd be almost 23 years, according to the negotiated plea deal. It's a lot of years. I mean, he's already serving 2 life sentences. But even if let's just say, even if they give those 2 life sentences are gone, he's 55. I guess he would still have a life outside of that, 70 some. He could still have a life. Maybe that's what he's just trying to go for. I just want you to know that we are very satisfied with this. Or I'm sorry, I'm going to read that over. I just want you to know that we are very satisfied and that this is very, very strong sentence that has been agreed to by the parties, said attorney Eric E.B. Bland, who along with his partner Ronnie Richter, represents a number of Murdaugh's victims. It sends a clarion bell signal to not only attorneys, but to everyone who wants to victimize the vulnerable. Murdaugh was facing dozens of state charges that accused him of carrying out a variety of schemes to defraud his clients, his law firm partners, and other victims of millions of dollars. In court Tuesday, Waters described the morass of crimes Murdaugh carried out over the course of years, relying on his own power, influence, and the legacy of his family to deceive and steal from his victims. Yeah. There were so many individuals that were trusting of Alec Murdaugh, and that is how this decade-long scheme was able to take place, Waters said. Ultimately, we had people who came to Mr. Murdaugh for help, people that he told he was going to help. And in many instances, there was significant funds that Mr. Murdaugh paid to those individuals. But that was how the scheme usually worked. It was a sleight of hand. It was where he was handing them a check and had their focus on that he was able to steal money from them behind their back. I'm going to grab my glasses really quick. Hold on. I'm like, why can't I see this little small print? It's probably because I don't have my glasses. Oh, I've officially reached it. What is it? What? So Ace's hair, it's confirmed it was Ace's hair? Is there new testing the new testing came back? I'm just like, what? Hey, Paige. I'm like, because I thought about playing her tonight. Because I thought it would be funny because I can't wait to listen to Nancy go off about Asa getting that $1 million. But so, wow. Okay. Let us know. Yeah. Whoa. Okay. So is it for Maureen? Like the other Asa? Okay. Sorry. We're going to spin this for a minute. We're talking about another case. So Long Island serial killer Rex Heuermann's wife, Asa, her hair was found in some of the bindings of the victims. But I know that they were waiting on one test to come back from, was it from Maureen? The one that he hasn't been charged with yet? Was he charged with hers? Or was that for her? Or was it for another one? Oh. Jan said, I don't know. I came back here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Go find out for us. Listen to me. And people tell me I don't tell my mods to go to other channels. I'm like, go over there. That's crazy. Yeah, let us know what's going on. And I'll keep going on with this. But I'm like, oh, I mean, because if you're charged with the M word, you can't be getting money. You can't be making money. So wouldn't that be something if they got that whole interview with her and then she ended up getting charged or something with it, like with a connection with something? And I wonder if they could release that and not give her the money. Oh, okay. She's talking. They took her DNA and it matched. Okay. Because I think that they found hair in the binding. I thought they said it was Ace's though in the beginning. Oh man. Sorry guys. We got a lot of cases that we cover over here. And that's another really like interesting case. So where were we at? Okay. There were so many individuals that were trusting of Alec Murdaugh, and that is how, I already read that. The decade-long scheme. Okay. You lied, you cheated, you stole. One exception to the strategy was the case of Gloria Satterfield, the Murdaugh's longtime housekeeper who died after a fall at the family's home. Murdaugh coordinated with the family to sue himself and seek an insurance settlement for Satterfield's family, according to affidavits released by state authorities. That was terrible. She did to those boys. The Satterfield's sons never saw a dime, Waters said Tuesday. Instead, Murdaugh took the funds and used them to make payments on credit cards and various loans he'd taken from the bank, his father and law partners. It's because he knew those kids would never be able to, he knew that they would never be able to go up against him. And he probably thought they would never find out. So Murdaugh agreed to pay $4.3 million settlement with Satterfield's family in December 2021. You lied, you cheated, you stole, you betrayed me and my family and everyone else. And you did it at the cost of my mom's death, Tony Satterfield, Gloria's son, told Murdaugh in court Tuesday. Brave guy. I want you to know that I forgive you. I will pray for you every day that God gets a hold of your heart. My heart is with you. My prayers are with you. And I just wish the best for you. Another emotional statement was given by Jordan Jinks, a childhood friend of Murdaugh's, who prosecutors said was defrauded of $150,000 by the former attorney after he was in a car accident. Jinks approached the microphone with tears already in his eyes, recounting memories the two had shared. The money you stole from me, you could have asked for it, and I would have gave it to you. That's how I felt about you and your family. Jinks originally didn't believe that Murdaugh had killed his wife and son, he said Tuesday, but after sitting here today and hearing some of the devious things you did to people, these victims here, that changed my mind, bro. Ahead of sentencing, Murdaugh addressed the court in a lengthy statement, apologizing to his victims and saying, despite his actions, he cared for each of them. Yeah, this was a bunch of bullcrap that he said. He's getting himself ready for next trial if he has one, in my opinion. I am so sorry. I am so bothered by the things that I did. No, he's not. He don't care. He cares that he's sitting in jail. I will tell you that while I'm pleading guilty for a number of reasons, all of which are believed to be valid or are valid, none of those reasons is more prominent than my hopes that seeing me punished will help each of you heal and begin to be able to put this behind you. He also took the opportunity to again deny that he killed his wife Maggie and son Paul at the family's hunting estate in June 2021, saying while addressing Jinks, I would never hurt Maggie and I would never hurt Paul. Not Paul no more. It is important to me that you know that because she did love you. Judge Clifton Newman described Murdaugh as empty and said his apology rang hollow. You're an magnet person. I don't know if you understand yourself, Newman said to Murdaugh. Murdaugh separately pled guilty in September to nearly 24 federal charges that similarly alleged he stole millions of dollars from his clients. He has not been sentenced on those charges. While Waters said the state plea deal would bring finality to the matter of Murdaugh's financial crimes, his legal saga could continue. Just lock him up, throw away the key, I'd say. Murdaugh started the process to appeal his convictions of the murders of his wife and son, but the appeal is on hold while his defense team pursue a motion for a new trial based on allegations that the Colleton County Clerk of Court, Becky Hill, tampered with the jury. She has denied those allegations. Waters alluded to the ongoing proceedings Tuesday, telling the court prosecutors had asked for 27-year sentence to ensure Murdaugh remained behind bars. Whatever happens with any other litigation, we ensure with this result here today that Mr. Murdaugh will stay in state prison for what is most likely the remainder of his life. On Tuesday, his attorney said their client was satisfied with the negotiated financial crime sentence, and they are now focusing on their attempt to get him a new murder trial. Attorney Dick Harpootlian told reporters after the sentencing that a judge has not yet been appointed to oversee the motion for a new trial, and they do not know when a hearing will be scheduled. Newman, who oversaw the murder trial, recused himself from the post-trial proceedings associated with the motion for a new trial. Yeah, he's done. His son died like 2 weeks before Murdaugh went on trial for killing his own son. How he was able to sit there cool, calm, and collected is beyond me. He was a great judge. I wish we could take him in our pocket and put him in every bench. Attorney Jim Griffith suggested Murdaugh seemed confident he'll get a new trial and could be out of prison when he completes the 27-year sentence he received Tuesday. He'll be eligible for release and max out at like 75 and a half years old. He's 55 now. He gets credit for time served, explained Griffin. He's already challenged me to a golf game. I'll be 86, so he'll probably win if I live that long. Well, I mean, you guys got something to look forward to. Really? I didn't see that. That's funny. Drop the F-bomb. I wouldn't doubt it. So did I miss anything, Jan? Did I miss anything? Okay. Just on the 3rd that have been confirmed so far, may have more major updates coming. As soon as the end of the year. Ooh, okay. We'll have to look into that. Sorry, Asa. I just don't understand how they didn't fall off. If the hair is in the bindings, yeah, we're going to have to do a live over that. We're going to talk about that for sure. So I don't know if you guys saw the sentencing yesterday or you heard Alec talk. I won't make you go through that because we can only go through tears of Alec Murdaugh so many times. But he should judge. He should do the Delphi case. He should be everywhere. Like I'm telling you, put him out to Idaho too. Like I love Judge Newman. If you weren't able to watch the trial or you didn't, go back and catch it. I mean, literally just for the antics. I mean, like that trial had some key moments. I mean, what about the lady with the eggs that got booted off the jury pool? And she was like, not before I get my eggs. Like, what? You're what? Who would bring you eggs into a jury room is beyond me. But I mean, people have chickens, I guess. Eggs were expensive at the time. Very funny. Very, very funny. So we'll watch the sentencing part. I'm going to put this on 1.25 speed just because Judge Newman does speak a little slow and he takes his time because he's very careful with his words. Now, if you look to your right, you'll see a gentleman with a black hoodie on. That is JLR, front and center. He is there. He's ready to hear it. And then this lady, she just has her hands in her little vest there, keeping them warm. So if you guys don't mind just taking a second to hit the like button, I'm going to play this and then we'll listen to the Nancy Grace episode right after this.
Negotiated sentence, as I stated earlier, either the court accepts the guilty plea and impose the exact sentence that the parties have negotiated, or the court will not accept the guilty plea. We've now spent 2 days listening to the recitation by the state and the defense, and I will accept the negotiated sentence and accept the guilty plea. Mr. Murdaugh, if you'll come around for sentencing. It was September of 2021 when the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court assigned me to preside over the pending investigations involving the various offenses that you are being investigated for, initially including these financial crimes and the murder cases. And I have lived with this case now for over 2 years, and I have 34 days left before active retirement. And after imposing this sentence, your life will continue. I will turn the page and leave you behind. You're quite an enigma, a person that many of us thought we knew. And as I stated earlier, I can only recall you as being a fun-loving, happy person. I've never seen you sad. I've never seen you being anything other than a friendly, caring person. And it's so disappointing to see you again in this setting. I believe the last time we saw each other and you were not in jail was at a conference when you were poolside having a good time. And as it turns out, that was a couple of months after the passing of your wife and son. But you were having a good time, made nothing of it. And then the Labor Day weekend events occurred. And next thing I know, I'm assigned to preside over all of your matters. Not only your matters, but others as well. And we started out with over 100 charges, indictments against various folks. And we've whittled that down to just a handful, outstanding. And I'm happy to turn the page and turn, not turn the remnants over to anyone else, but to certainly turn over anything pending against you to someone else. It's been said that these are white collar offenses. I've never had that distinction. I've never thought of it that way. I've looked at criminal offenses as criminal offenses. You know, 3 property crimes in South Carolina is you can get 10 years in prison. People have gotten 10 years for shoplifting, 3rd offense. I've sent people into retirement for committing of criminal offenses over and over and over again. But I've never thought of it as being a white collar offense. Having had employees do embezzlement, church secretaries stole money, preachers stolen money, many offenses. But I never draw a distinction between a violent crime and other crimes. Certainly the law makes a distinction, and many violent crimes are non-parole offenses. The plea I'm accepting with you, you must serve 85% of the time. The parties have indicated that they are the victims, to the extent that they can be called victims. That's my preferred term for the group of people who have been preyed upon or victimized. They've all indicated that they would like for the court to accept the negotiated sentence. It is a stern sentence. The question was asked, what kind of animal are you? You're an enigmatic person. I don't know that you understand yourself. What comes to mind is a young man that I sentenced to death penalty for killing a police officer and setting his body on fire. And though personally I was opposed to capital punishment, he was sentenced to death. And in writing up that sentence report, I concluded that he was heartless. He was just empty. And when I see you and I listen to you and I reflect on all that I've seen since being appointed, assigned to these cases, you come closest to that young man being empty. I don't see anything. I tried to reach you at sentencing in the other case. I've listened to you here today, and I don't see anything there. Hopefully something will emerge within your spirit, within your soul. Certainly, being a person of your age and intelligence and experience, you have a lot to offer to the people that you encounter on a daily basis in the institution. And I think it's admirable that you've indicated that you will help them and continue to try to do good by them. You'll certainly have a lot of opportunity to do that. as we look at all of us, none of us are perfect. Many of us do things that we shouldn't do. It's just unimaginable to me that you have done some of the things that you've done. And whether it's you or someone you become upon using drugs or through the process of just committing the crimes over and over the period of years, I don't know. I don't even know who I'm speaking to now. But being a person of power and influence, and the question is raised of what type of character do you have? A person who would prey upon folks who are vulnerable and who are of a lower perceived estate than you, how you would prey upon those people who you say you love, and you capitalize on the disparity of what you have versus what they had and what they need and what they desired. In my years, I know of no greater joy as a lawyer that I've had during my 47 years as a lawyer than the joy of of having a satisfied client, of delivering good results for a client and experiencing that joy with them. I can think of no greater joy than I've experienced in being able to deliver on behalf of a client. And I'm sure you've experienced that joy as well, until you decided that the only joy you're concerned about was your own. I take no joy at all in imposing this sentence, but it is what it is. And you'll have to suffer the consequences of your acts, continue to suffer the consequences. And hopefully some good will come out of you as you move forward. There are a number of counts here, a number of indictments, and you'll get an individual sentence as to each one. On indictment, GS 4727, for money laundering, the sentence is 20 years. Obtaining signature of property by false pretenses, the sentence is 10 years. Second count of obtaining property by false pretenses, count 7, 10 years. Breach of trust with fraudulent intent, value more than $10,000, the sentence is 10 years. Another, obtaining property by false pretenses, count on indictment 4730, count 4, sentence is 10 years. Money laundering on indictment, same indictment, count 5, sentence is 20 years. Money laundering, count 8 of that indictment, the sentence is 20 years. Breach of trust with fraudulent intent, indictment number 32, count 1, sentence is 5 years. Money laundering under indictment number 33, count 2, the sentence is 20 years. Money laundering under indictment 34, count 2, the sentence is 20 years. Forgery, value $10,000 or more under indictment 35, count 5, the sentence is 10 years. Computer crimes under indictment 36, the sentence is 5 years. Breach of trust with fraudulent intent under indictment ending in 37, the sentence is 10 years. All those sentences will run concurrent with each other. Money laundering under indictment ending in 38, count 2, the sentence is 7 years consecutive to sentences previously stated. Under indictment 01, 4701, breach of trust with fraudulent intent, the sentence is 10 years concurrent. Breach of trust, fraudulent intent under indictment ending in 02, count 1, sentence is 10 years. Under indictment ending in 10, count 1, sentence is 5 years concurrent. Money laundering in indictment ending in 23, count 3, the sentence is 20 years. And the indictment ending 24, obtaining goods under false pretenses, sentence is 10 years. Willful intent to evade or defeat payment of taxes under indictment 34, sentences 5 years concurrent. You have one 20-year sentence and a consecutive 7-year sentence for a total sentence of 27 years. Most of the offenses pled to are serious offenses under the law, subject you to the 3 strikes law. You are given credit for time served pursuant to section 241340 to be calculated by the South Carolina Department of Corrections. I think that completes the sentence. Anything further regarding this sentence?
Your Honor, just for clarification, and I think the sentencing sheets reflect this, but he's got all those sentences concurrent for 20,
Yes.
and then there's one 7-year consecutive sentence. So he's got a 27-year sentence, 85% parole
Yes.
eligible, I mean, max out.
Yes.
Right.
And it's reflected on the sentencing sheet.
Yes, sir.
Any comment about that, Mr. Waters or Mr.?
That's correct, Your Honor. There's 20 years at 85% and then a 7 at 85%. And again, those are no parole offenses, meaning got to go 85%. Right. Or more, depending on how he behaves.
And that's the sentence of the court. Mr. Murdaugh, any final comments?
Look at that smile.
Yes, sir. I will just reiterate what I did say to all of you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank
Good luck.
you.
We hear ya. We hear ya. Now get out of here. He's probably back, swapping out, like I said, ramen with beef sticks. He's back in his cell with his iPad. I can't believe you guys. I mean, I can't believe people get it. I said, you guys are all in jail. Like he gets like I don't know. It's just weird to me that you get like that much of a freedom. I mean, of having being able to, I guess, call whatever you want, because like normally you have to stand in line and wait, like to use the phone. And now it's more of like a convenience. Everybody could just sit down and talk to whoever they want all day, every day. You think that might get on someone's nerves, some people's nerves. Oh my gosh. Do you see this dog back here? Oh my gosh. Let me see if you can. She looks so cute. She's sleeping with her eyes open. Oh my gosh. Let me get Nancy up here for us. But you could tell, like, I really, really love Judge Newman. I love him so much. I think he's such a down-to-earth person. I mean, for him to stay on the bench and take this case on 2 weeks after his own son was killed, or not killed, I'm sorry, was passed away, is beyond me. I don't know how he could, and he's sitting there listening to a guy, about how a guy murdered his son. And he literally he was such a gentleman. I like Creighton Waters too. I like him too. He plays the guitar. Remember, we found that out after trial. And then so does Judge, wasn't it Judge that does too? No, Judge, not Judge. It was, it's Attorney Thompson. He plays the guitar in his band. Both prosecutors, both very high profile cases, both play in a band and they play the guitar. Very strange. Waters irritates me. I liked him. I think he got under Alex's skin a little bit. So that's probably why I liked him a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and play Nancy. So I didn't realize that Nancy isn't in studio for this one, but she has like people on panel, and then she'll have like little clips and stuff. But I was like, really? when I was listening to it. Because of course, I listened to the podcast version and watched the video version with you guys. And there was no video version. I mean, there is, but it's just a little bit different than what we're used to. So I have her over here behind me. She is here in spirit. I might have to move her over here though. So that way you guys can see her behind me. But she might scare Mia, so I might leave her over there. Because the dog was scared of her for the longest time. And thank you for saying my dog's cute. She's the best. She's the best dog. She's a sweetheart. She really is. She teased, like our other dog we have gets bullied by her. And it's so funny because she's the biggest baby in the world. So the other dog never comes in. She's always scared, but she's always here. So I'm going to go ahead and play this here for us, and I'll be in the chat with you guys. And we might pause it and, commentate here and there if we need to.
Will Alex Murdaugh,
So, like, certain parts will be kind of just like this with this screen.
somehow managed to finagle a new murder trial in the cold-blooded killings of his wife and son, Paul and Maggie? Is that happening? Again, his son, his living son, Buster Murdaugh, denies involvement with Stephen Smith's death. This as we have the result of yet a second autopsy on Stephen Smith, and we learn a rape kit was conducted on the teen boy. All of this swirling while the clerk to the court, Rebecca Hill, denies all allegations that she somehow tampered with the Alex Murdaugh jury. What will a new autopsy reveal? Is it true that teen boy Stephen Smith actually died of a blow to the head? I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. Thank you for being with us here at Crime Stories and on Sirius XM 111.
I wanted to make sure I didn't have her like sped up really quick. I might. Nope. I don't. I didn't think she was because I thought it'd be really fast. Before she gets started though, like talking, I just want to tell you, the reason why the new trial may, come on is because, they were saying that Rebecca Hill, may have, she's the clerk of courts, that she might have tampered with the jury in the Alec Murdaugh trial, the murder trial of Maggie and Paul. Her son his name is Jeff Hill. He's been arrested for on charges of wiretapping. So SLED agents are accusing him of recording Deputy County Administrator Meagan Utse. I think that's how you say her last name, Utse, something like that. If I'm saying it wrong, I'm sorry. But her conversations. And then during the murder trial, she was the one that she served as a liaison between the county and the court. So they're all entangled in with the court. And I mean, I don't know. They probably all know each other by some level too. I'm sure Alec knew all. I mean, he did. She stood up and she said she knew him. I don't know. Maybe they should have had other people coming in that didn't know him, perhaps. But I don't know if she tainted the jury. But we'll see what Nancy thinks. Yeah, her son, he's been arrested on wiretapping. I was trying to think of the case today. I'm like, who was the one that had her son in there videotaping it? And that was Letitia Stalk's trial with Dorothy. I was trying to rack my brain today to figure out who that was.
With me an all-star panel. But first, I want to go out to a special guest, Jennifer Wood, Director of Research, FitzNews.com. Jennifer, is Alex Murdaugh getting a new trial? Lord, help us all.
I know. I think every week, the more that comes out, the more I lean towards it being a possibility, but there's still a lot of what ifs. We're still waiting to hear which judge gets assigned to oversee it by the Supreme Court. We're still waiting to hear if there will be an evidentiary hearing, but with the arrest of Clerk of Court Becky Hill's son, Jeff Hill, for wiretapping, it's not looking great.
Okay, wait. Explain that. Guys, we're talking about Alex Murdaugh, the legal heir to an incredible legal dynasty in South Carolina, who was charged and convicted of double murder. Is he getting a new trial? And a lot of it swirls around, and they dug deep, the defense did, and they came up with a grounds for reversal, or so they think. And that is that somehow the clerk of court, Rebecca Hill, who I met, she seemed very professional to me. I find it very hard to believe she would do anything to tamper with the jury, but their claim is she, let me just say, goaded the jury into a quick verdict. Would you say that's the claim, Jennifer Wood?
I think that's the gist of it, yes.
Joining me, high-profile lawyer out of that jurisdiction who is partnered with the Bland Richter law firm and the lawyer for the Stephen Smith family and the Gloria Satterfield family, Ronnie Richter, joining us. Ronnie, what do you make of the defense claims by Alex Murdaugh that somehow the clerk of the court tampered with the jury and there has to be a new trial?
I think it's problematic. I think if it is proven true that the Madam Clerk herself walked into the jury room and said to the jurors that they're about to hear testimony that they should disbelieve, I think that is presumed prejudicial. I don't see any remedy other than the grant of a new trial, if that's proven to be true.
Let's analyze exactly what has been said. And let me remind you, with me is Dr. Kenneth Kinsey, the expert on the Murdaugh murder trial. Also with me, Dr. Michelle Dupre, who can tell us everything available to the public right now regarding the second autopsy of Stephen Smith, including his cause of death. Todd Shipley with me, cyber crime expert and author, and Karen Stark with us, renowned psychologist. But Jennifer Wood, I want to back it up to the claim that Becky Hill somehow tainted the jury. Exactly what is the defense arguing?
So the defense is arguing that during the time that the jury was impaneled, that she said things like, watch Alec's body language when he was testifying. And other things that could have been prejudicial to the jury. But, some jurors say that they never saw that happen. Some jurors say she did say that.
Well, let me understand one more thing, Jennifer Wood. Is this allegation coming from the juror and her ex-husband that was thrown off the jury?
One of them, yes. One of those jurors is that juror. The egg juror is how we refer to her, because when she was leaving, she asked to bring a dozen eggs with her.
Yes, I was there for that. And I think the judge didn't understand what she was saying at first, as many of us did not. She wanted to go back into the jury deliberation room to get the eggs she had brought in that morning for the jury. She did not want the jury to have the eggs, the 12 eggs, since she was getting thrown off the jury. That's the only way I could take that, is that if I can't have them, no one will. So she was given permission to go back in the jury deliberation room to get her eggs. Now, hold on. She was already thrown off the jury. So I would argue that would taint her credibility. But how does her ex-husband fit into it, Jennifer Wood?
So her ex, this is all convoluted, but allegedly her ex-husband, the clerk of court, Becky Hill, saw a Facebook post on a local Facebook group that her ex-husband had made, that she was speaking about Alex Murdaugh and his guilt or innocence outside of the jury room. And she reported that to Judge Newman, but that really wasn't ultimately why she was dismissed. She was dismissed because she had spoken to some tenants of hers while she was delivering a refrigerator over the weekend about Alex Murdaugh's guilt or innocence. And they were brought in to, they completed affidavits and were brought in to testify under oath about that in camera.
Wow. And what was it she allegedly said to them?
She was just, espousing whether or not she believed Alex was guilty or innocent before the end of the trial, which, they're not supposed to talk outside of
Absolutely not. Joining us is Ronnie Richter, high-profile lawyer with Bland Richter there in South Carolina. Ronnie, there has to be an evidentiary hearing. For all I know, they've already had one behind closed doors, but we haven't heard about it yet. There has to be an evidentiary hearing to make a record in case a new trial is not granted, so the appeals court can review the evidence.
Yeah, no doubt. And I can tell you there has been no evidentiary hearing, and I know that because we currently represent 4 of the jurors who deliberated on the murder conviction. You may recall that there was a point in time where Dick Harpootlian had gone public about this and made some comment to the effect that if you're on that jury, you might want to lawyer up. And so we extended our services for free to anybody who felt like they wanted to.
Now, why did the defense attorney Harpootlian, or one of them anyway, he had a fleet, why did they tell the jurors they needed to get lawyers?
I don't know. We've thought it was stunning to say such a thing. There's no legal exposure for anybody on that jury. But to the extent any of them felt concerned by that, we threw it out there to the world that we're happy to do that for free. And so far, 4 jurors have signed up. So I can tell you there's been no evidentiary hearing. At any evidentiary hearing, all of the jurors will be impaneled and question about what they heard back in the deliberations.
Well, I know this. I know the clerk, Becky Hill, has denied any jury tampering allegations. She has spoken out. She says she did not tell them to watch Alex Murdaugh, that they should reach a quick verdict, that she did not speak to them singly or as a group. So I've got to weigh what she's saying against what the juror, the I want my eggs juror, is saying. And Jennifer Wood, are you telling me other jurors agree that Becky Hill tampered with their process of reaching a verdict?
So I believe in the state's response, they included statements from most of the jurors except for one. And there were 2 other jurors that said that I don't know that they specifically said she had, but that they had heard outside of the courtroom to watch Alex's body language while he was testifying.
They can't just make a blanket allegation that somebody somewhere told them to watch his body language. I mean, that's not going to hold any water, Ronnie Richter. You've got to have a name, a direct allegation, and then that direct allegation has to be weighed in court and tested under cross-examination to determine, did it happen? And if it did happen, did it affect their impartiality? It's not just, did it happen? For all I know, they could ride by a billboard and see a 1-800 number for tips on the Murdaugh case. Someone could have yelled out on their visit to Moselle, the jury visit to the scene of the crime, hey, he did it. But did that affect their verdict? It's not just, did it happen, Ronnie? It's, did it affect their verdict, Ronnie Richter?
Well, I think you're 100% right there. Without violating any privilege, I can tell you the folks we represent will not support any allegation of jury tampering. I do think, however, though, that if they can prove this allegation...
Oh, there's going to be a new trial.
Yeah, there's going to be a new trial. It's going to be presumed prejudicial. So I don't think we get to the cut about, did it affect the outcome or not? I think the jury tampering itself is so prejudicial to the process that we have to throw out the result. But the question is, can they prove this actually happened?
Exactly. Okay, this is what I'm saying. If I have to weigh credibility like the judge will and like an appellate court will, you have to decide between, amorphous claims. Somebody told me to watch body language. That's not going to cut it. It's got to be something firm. There's got to be a direct speaker. It has to be tested in court and shown in court. But if it is shown, then there will be a new trial. So you've got to weigh the credibility between the court clerk, Rebecca Hill, and what the I want my eggs juror is saying. That's how that's going to go down. But now on to another twist in the Alex Murdaugh case. Does it ever end, for Pete's sake? First of all, take a listen to this.
Hampton County 911, where's your emergency?
Hello, I just going down Crocketville Road. I see somebody laying out.
What road what's the name of the highway that you're on?
I know it's Crocketville Road.
Just know it's Crocketville Road?
Yeah.
Hold on just a second. And which way are you headed?
Okay, the back way to go like going towards Brunson.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, you're on that road just before you get into Crocketville?
So Crocketville, make that right.
You are hearing the 911 call out of Hampton County regarding the discovery of the body of Stephen Smith. As you will recall, Stephen Smith, a teen boy that lived in the area was found dead not too far from the same location, Moselle, that is the Murdaugh Hunting Lodge. And the Murdaugh family has been forever hounded by claims that somehow they were part of this. And Stephen Smith's mother. Ms. Smith, I want to thank you so much for being with us. First of all, I want you to tell us what it has been like for you to finally have been taken seriously regarding an autopsy for your son.
Yeah, so at the beginning, it was just me crying, and begging people, and nobody would listen. And finally, we got the GoFundMe to do what I've always wanted to do, and that was to get a second opinion on his autopsy. I was absolutely surprised of how quick the GoFundMe grew, and we were able to take part of that money and start a scholarship in Stephen's name. And right now, that's the best part of this adventure that I've been going through.
With us is Stephen Smith's mother. You never believed he was hit by a car. Why?
Because he wouldn't have been in the road. He was very skittish of people. And if there was a car coming, he would have hit in that cornfield or in them woods. He would not have voluntarily walked down that highway. And he had a cell phone. He would have called his twin sister. His wallet was in the car. And if you're walking to go get gas, you would not leave your money in the car, because the only thing on him was his cell phone and his car key.
What happened the night that Stephen Smith was killed? His body found a stone's throw from the Murdaugh family hunting lodge. What do we know? Take a listen to our Cut 65.
Neither Sandy Smith nor the investigators with the South Carolina Highway Patrol believed that Stephen Smith had been hit by a car. The initial incident report noted Smith had suffered blunt force trauma to the head, and while Smith's body was lying on the center line of the roadway, the responding officer saw no evidence of a vehicle accident. His notes indicate there was no vehicle debris, skid marks, or injuries consistent with someone being struck by a vehicle. Also, Smith's shoes were on both of his feet and loosely tied. After the pathologist autopsy, at least 2 investigators disagreed with the hit-and-run determination. Their notes also indicate the county coroner disagreed with the finding as well.
And there's more. From the South Carolina Highway Patrol, Lieutenant Thomas Moore speaks out.
A former South Carolina Highway Patrol Lieutenant, Thomas Moore, responded to the scene the day Stephen Smith's body was found on a Hampton County road, and he tells WJCL that he knew at the beginning the 19-year-old Smith was murdered. He further claims that SLED, the sheriff's, and the Hampton County Coroner's Office didn't do their jobs that day. It took new evidence in the Murdaugh murders to bring about a reclassification from the hit and run that Moore says was never right to the homicide that he believes it always should have been. Moore says it didn't appear Smith was hit by a car. His road rash was minor. His shoes were still on his feet. Moore says he took the case as far as he could, and nothing happened until now.
With me, an all-star panel to make sense of what we are learning right now, including Dr. Michelle Dupre, who oversaw the second autopsy on teen boy Stephen Smith, and Dr. Kenneth Kinsey, forensic expert in the Murdaugh murder trial. He shot to fame then, former Orangeburg County Chief Deputy, now owner-operator of Kenny Kinsey and Associates, former SLED Special Agent. Dr. Kenneth Kinsey, what do you make of the findings that the original findings that Stephen Smith died of a hit and run?
Well, Nancy, I think that battle is a battle that's seen a lot in our state where, Highway Patrol, is it theirs? Is it the sheriff's office? Is it the local authorities? And I'm used to that battle, and I'm not even going to say it's wrong because you're trying to ensure proper jurisdiction in an incident like this. And unfortunately, it gets passed around because those jurisdictions and responsibilities aren't highlighted enough in our legislation. But as far as Stephen's death is concerned, this is an atypical incident. And though I agree, and I come into this thing with with an open mind, the evidence is what the evidence is.
Okay, you didn't answer at all. Do you think he died of a hit and run or no? Let me help you along, Dr. Kenneth Kinsey, with Dr. Michelle Dupre. I'm trying to politely cut you off before you give an answer you may want to change in 5 minutes. But hey, before I go to Dr. Dupre, Dr. Kinsey, I sat through the trial. I heard the evidence. And it's very difficult for me to believe that anyone of sound mind can actually believe that Alex Murdaugh is innocent. Now, there's some wild cockamamie theory floating around that he owed drug debts and that the, unnamed, anonymous drug lord killed Maggie and Paul and made him watch. Okay, you don't think that big crybaby would blurt that out between then and now? Murdaugh would, he'd be telling that in a New York minute, Kinsey. That's just like the same thing with O.J. Simpson. Let's see. There's a theory that the son did it. There's a theory that dopers did it. Oh, there's so many theories. None of them are grounded in fact. Do you actually meet people, Dr. Kinsey, that believe Murdaugh didn't do it?
I do, Nancy. I do.
Lord.
And generally their thought process is a parent won't kill their child. And we know that's not true. We see it all the time.
I would go to Ronnie Richter right now, but I don't think I like what I would hear. Let me go to something grounded in fact. Dr. Michelle Dupre joining me, renowned pathologist, medical examiner, former detective, author of Money, Mischief, and Murder, The Murdaugh Saga. The rest of the story, it's on Amazon. I've started reading your book, and so at times it's painful, Dr. Dupre, because I'm having to relive all the BS the defense floated during that trial. But that said, it's wonderfully written. You are also the author of Homicide Investigation Field Guide. Dr. Dupre, you supervised the second autopsy of teen boy Stephen Smith. And it took his mother, Sandy, who is with us, 8 years to get the money for a new autopsy. And if it had not been for the Bland Richter law firm, it may never have happened, because they really put it out there that she's trying to raise money. But it did happen. Tell me, Dr. Dupre, about exhuming his body, taking it for a new autopsy, and what, if anything, you can tell us. First of all, tell me about the exhumation of the body.
I thought it was going to be a very sad day, and I was so surprised that it was not. It was a joyous occasion. Sandy was there. Some family members were there. Of course, SLED was there, the funeral home, and she was so happy that this was actually happening. I just can't say enough about how strong she was. And the exhumation took place without incident. SLED was there. We took the body immediately from the cemetery in the vault that it was in. We took it to the vault company and took the casket out of the vault and immediately transported it with a SLED escort all the way to Tampa, Florida.
Why did you feel that his body needed?
So it seems to me like he double buried or something? Like the casket was inside of because they just lowered the casket in. So, but it sounds like his was inside of a vault. So I wonder if that preserves your body a certain way. You know what I mean? I wonder if it's better for it, not as good for it, but I don't know. Yeah, casket inside of a vault. Yeah, okay. I didn't know that. Wow. Well, she did him right. You know what I mean? His mama made sure he was put in right. So
it is lit.
Oh, it's not working. I need to fix that, Justice Jane. I'll put my channel link in the chat. I need to write that down right now. So I fixed it. I thought I fixed it. Yep. Let me get that one for you.
Escort.
Because we wanted to maintain a chain of custody. We didn't know what we were going to find, and we wanted to start from the beginning. We wanted to look at any and every possibility and not be, clouded by, oh, this is just an exhumation. We wanted to do this right, and we did.
Tell me about the autopsy itself. Where was it conducted? How was it conducted? Tell me the whole thing.
Okay. It was conducted in Tampa, Florida, by a forensically trained pathologist. We took the body in the casket. We did not open the casket until we got to the facility where the autopsy would be done. SLED was there the entire time, as was I. We photographed everything. We documented every procedure and everything that was done. SLED was even in the autopsy suite during the autopsy, as was I, taking the photographs and documenting the evidence. And we did a complete, and when I say complete, I mean from head to toe. We did the exact same thing that you would do if it was the first autopsy. It was a little more difficult because, of course, the organs had already been examined, as had the body, but we were still able to get a complete and thorough second autopsy and get all the information that we needed.
Who performed, as you supervised, who performed the autopsy?
A forensic pathologist named Daniel Schultz in Tampa.
And what is his background?
He is, again, forensically trained and board certified. He has been in practice for several years. When I worked in Miami, I actually knew of him. I did not work with him, but he is well respected in the community and has been practicing for a long time.
Are you happy with your results?
Absolutely.
And who else was in the room?
There were SLED agents that had accompanied us. 3 SLED agents accompanied us all the way from the grave site to Tampa and then all the way back to the grave site that same weekend.
How long did the autopsy take, Dr. Dupre?
The autopsy took approximately 6 hours. And after that, we looked at the findings. We discussed the results that we had so far. Some tests were still pending, and we received those at a later date and received a report from Dr. Schultz, as well as I submitted my notes to SLED, the same thing.
Now, isn't it true that you found a 7.5-inch fracture on Stephen Smith's skull?
On his right forehead, yes.
On his right forehead. What's the significance of it being on his right front? Now, you're saying his right front, not as you're looking at it, but his right front.
That's correct. His right front, right above the eye.
Right above his right eye, going back or going to the side?
Going upward.
7.5 inches. Is that correct?
Yes.
I know you said he's got a 7.5-inch skull fracture on the right side, starting above his right eye and going upward and backward. Did that cause a brain injury?
That in and of itself did not.
Did he have a brain injury?
Yes, he did.
Would that technically be the cause of death, injury to the brain?
Blunt force trauma, head trauma, that did cause injury to the brain, yes.
So when you have blunt force trauma to the skull and the brain, why does that kill you? Does the brain quit telling the body to perform?
It does. There's several different mechanisms, and the one in this case was because there was such significant damage to what we call the basilar skull, which is inside where the brain sits on top of. That skull was fractured like an eggshell. And so this was an unsurvivable event. It causes brain swelling. It causes some bleeding. It causes death almost instantaneously.
To Sandy Smith, this is Stephen Smith's mother. You had long believed that your son, Stephen, had been tortured. Were you surprised by Dr. Dupre's autopsy findings?
I don't know much, but I do know that Dr. Dupre told me and comforted me in knowing that Stephen was unconscious. So he didn't realize what was going on. And that kind of, because I always thought he went through torture, you know. So she did put my heart to rest on that part, knowing he didn't suffer.
And what do you mean by that, Dr. Dupre, that he didn't suffer?
Nancy, when he was initially struck on the front of the head and pushed down to the pavement, and a secondary fracture caused that significant damage, he would have been unconscious. We do think that he was breathing just for moments until his death.
Sandy Smith, Stephen's mother, waited 8 years to hear that, Miss Smith.
Exactly. And it's like, I waited 8 years to hear those words that I was right.
Nobody should have to wait 8 years for an independent autopsy. If somebody wants to have a second autopsy performed, they should have the option to have that done. And I speak on this like it's near to my heart. Like, really, I mean, if you were a parent, they do an autopsy. You don't know the person that did the first autopsy. I mean, no offense to that person. I mean, but you could have questions as a parent, as a loved one. And if they're not going to answer your questions and you still have all of these questions, like, well, then how did my kid die? This wasn't an accident. And if it was a hit and run, then who did it? I think that you should be able to have them exhumed and have another autopsy done. A second opinion, you can do that at the doctors. When you're alive, you can do it. Why can't you do it when you're dead? If someone is here to advocate for you. She shouldn't have had to wait 8 years. That's a long time.
Not that I wanted to be right, but I wanted, a little piece of my heart knowing that what I said was the truth. And now I have people in my corner that is willing to help fight for Stephen. Stephen's death was not in vain. There's going to be some good that comes out of this.
To Karen Stark joining us, renowned psychologist, TV, radio trauma expert, and consultant at KarenStark.com. Karen with a C. Karen, it's horrible enough to lose someone you love. Then to learn that you've lost them through a horrible, horrible act like the loss of teen boy Stephen Smith. Was he targeted because he's gay? Was he in a relationship with someone that wanted to keep it a secret? Is that why he was killed? What happened that night? Can you imagine, Karen Stark, not really knowing what happened to your child?
Well, I can't think of anything worse. We know, Nancy, that when it comes to children and that kind of death, a premature death, your children are not supposed to die before you. They're supposed to outlive you. So torturous for her. And not knowing details and really having that instinct that only a mother has, that something happened, that it was different, that she really needed to know what the true facts were. So I can't think of anything worse than what you went through, honestly, and I'm so sorry.
Sandy Smith speaking out now that Bland Richter, the law firm, has pushed her GoFundMe to get justice for her son. Dr. Michelle Dupre personally oversaw the autopsy. It had to be so incredibly disappointing at the time, where even people within the investigation in the pathologist office did not agree on your son's death.
Right. And it was, I know the MATE team, tried, but they're not homicide investigators. So there was only little that they could really do. But my biggest problem was SLED had his body and just turned it back over to the highway patrol, knowing that it was not a hit and run. So, it was his death investigation was screwed up from the beginning. And nobody answering my calls, So I said, well, I'll write the Department of Justice. I'll write FBI. I'll write whoever I have to. Because his death investigation is not getting the attention it needs. And here we are 8 years later going on.
I'm just going to say this I don't know. It kind of sounds bad, but I don't mean it bad. If it wasn't for people assuming and going after Buster and saying like Buster did this, Buster had something to do with this, I don't believe, in my opinion, any of this for Stephen Smith would be going on. I don't think that she would have got the GoFundMe funds that she would have needed, because she wouldn't have had the reach. She wouldn't have had all of these people wanting to know, because Alec Murdaugh was on trial at the time when all of this came out, came back up. And they're pointing the finger at Buster, and everyone wanted to know, is Buster a murderer just like his father? So I think a lot of those people that contributed to the GoFundMe and getting the news out there, like being more aware of this case, I think it all ties back to people blaming it on Buster. But whatever a mama's got to do to get her boy out of the ground to get him another autopsy, mama's going to do it, and that's what she had to do. I know that the GoFundMe, I know they surpassed it by a lot. I'm wondering how much they ended up, collecting. I'm just curious, like altogether, because I'm kind of curious just to know how much it costs to exhume somebody. I would hate to have to pay. I would just hate to have to pay for my loved one to be exhumed. It just sounds so bad. Like a mother having to pay to have her child exhumed. I don't know.
On 9 soon, and
Yep. Don't be
he's
right.
human. No matter whether he was gay, straight, I didn't care. But he was my son, and I loved him. And somebody took him from me. And I was going to fight. And I will fight until I take my last breath.
The struggle for 8 years to get the second autopsy had to take a horrible, horrible toll on you.
It's been hard and struggle. But now that I've gotten that second autopsy and a new team working this case, I feel a little bit more at ease, but that part of my heart I'll never get back.
Joining me is Todd G. Shipley, digital cybercrime expert, former detective sergeant, author of Investigating Internet Crimes, An Introduction to Solving Crimes in Cyberspace. Todd Shipley, thank you for being with us. You can find him at darkintel.info. Todd, how could, and it's 8 years later, how could digital evidence help improve what happened in the Stephen Smith case?
Well, from reviewing the publicly available documents, there's a lot that probably could be determined from it. The phone still exists. I don't know if the other items still exist, the iPad, the computer that are listed as evidence, but I didn't find reports of law enforcement actually going through those things to determine any potential probable cause for why this occurred. There's a whole lot of evidence I think you can glean from it. It was unfortunate, though, that in reviewing the reports that they made requests 6 months later for some of the information from Verizon that should have been appropriately requested at the time, because the records they were looking for don't last on those networks very long. And so I didn't see a great effort by law enforcement to identify the potential for this digital evidence to show where he was that night. And the cell phone is going to show that. And I know there was some looking at his social media too. There's a whole lot of information that was not obtained that could be, very instrumental in identifying what occurred that night.
Wow. Okay. Straight out to Dr. Kenneth Kinsey, forensic expert in the Murdaugh murder trial, former county chief deputy in Orangeburg, and now owner-operator Kenny Kinsey & Associates, LLC. Dr. Kinsey, what do you make of that? Is there any way to put Humpty Dumpty back together again 8 years later?
Nancy, is always salvageable, and someone knows some details. Definitely the computer work and the data that's on those devices. It's always there. It does go away, but there are people that know. And as I've said all along, there's someone out there that knows the details of this.
But that someone has been out there all along. To Ronnie Richter, the someone that knows what happened to Stephen Smith has been out there for 8 years and hasn't come forward. So how are we going to dig him up now, Ronnie?
Well, I think it's got to be the worst kept secret in Hampton County. So it's, whether it's one or more people who are involved in this, it's a secret that it would be too big to keep. So we know that whoever was involved has told other people. And I think the push here is that with as much pressure as you can apply, get someone to break finally. If there are people out there with material information and they're not forthcoming, they could face their own charges for obstruction. So that's kind of the approach. So when we got engaged with Sandy, and we'd met her a long time ago with the Satterfield family, and she broke our hearts. But when we finally got engaged, the approach was, let's just try to start from zero. Let's exhume his body. Let's get the best team we can, Dr. Dupre, Dr. Kinsey. Let's start as if this was the beginning of the investigation. And I will say that SLED has poured all of its resources back into this, and we know that they're engaged. And hopefully with time and pressure, somebody's going to break.
Man, I hope you're right. And of course, there's always the rumors swirling that somehow the Murdaugh family is involved. And there are so many dead bodies connected to the Murdaugh family. And let's just say it's not a leap of faith to think that somehow they're involved in, especially with Stephen's body being found not too far from Moselle, the Murdaugh hunting lodge. But so far, that's all it is. Rumors. You can't try a case on rumors. And everyone's searching for answers, including Stephen's mother, Miss Sandy Smith. What do you make of it, Sandy?
Well, when I first heard that it was the Murdaugh boys, there's a bunch of Murdaugh boys. I didn't know which group of Murdaughs they were talking about until Buster's name kept coming up. And in my mind, I didn't see any reason why that family would even be associated with my son. I mean, Stephen and Stephanie went to school with Buster, and then Paul's name come up. I never even knew Paul existed. So it was like, when rumors start, there's a source behind the rumors. And maybe the person who started the rumor knows more than anybody else.
Well, that's true. So as you're saying, as Ronnie Richter is saying, if the rumor's not true, and there's a very big chance it's not true, we can't confirm it, you have to look at who started that rumor, pointing to a Murdaugh being involved, Buster specifically, who has denied any involvement, and figure out why that person is trying to point at Buster Murdaugh, because again, it's all just rumors, Miss Smith.
I have no facts. All I have is people telling me and telling the world they're putting up. And I don't see the reason why you would ruin somebody's reputation. But my thing is about the Murdaughs is you had 8 years so far. But if somebody would have brought my son's name up into a homicide, I would be doing everything I could to clear his name. And they did nothing until SLED reopened the case, and they still didn't say anything. And then it was when SLED was making the announcement that it was a homicide that Buster comes up with a stupid letter. The letter was him saying that he didn't have nothing to do with Stephen's death. You had 8 years to do that. And you wait until attention's on Stephen to write that stupid letter. I don't even know if he wrote it. I think Jim wrote it. And then you're going to get on TV.
Well, that's because Alec was too busy plotting against his wife and his son, and he was too busy doing drugs. So Buster's not going to come out of the woodwork and put himself into a position like, hey, I think this kid thinks I killed him. You know what I mean? I don't think that's going to happen. Like when you're young, like a young adult, young kid, or, in that age group, you're not going to just go to the cops and be like, yeah, people are saying I did it. I don't know. I would have just been like, I'm going to shut my mouth. If they come and talk to me, they come and talk to me. That's what I would do. I don't know. If I was in that position, I wouldn't be like, I don't know. I wouldn't be running to the cops if it wasn't a big deal. I don't think that everyone was circulating this rumor. I don't think this rumor got big until Alec went to trial, and that's when everything blew up. And so that's what I think, though. I wanted to put my little 2 cents in there.
It just makes no sense. You had 8 years to do that. I would have been clearing my child's name, not keep sweeping it under the rug.
I wonder if everybody in the town was talking about this, or if it was just something that was just said once or twice and it was just nothing. Do you know what I mean? Because I know it's big now and people are talking about it now, but I wonder how it started. Because if it wasn't a big deal, I mean, I could see Buster just keeping his mouth closed, not saying anything, not doing anything. I mean, if it was huge, you're Idaho, then yeah, go to the police station, give them whatever they want. But if it's just a couple people in your hometown starting a baseless rumor, I just don't see, why you wouldn't put yourself into the investigation. But that's just me.
And I felt they were really heartless by doing that, to take away from Stephen, to now all of a sudden you want to clear your name. Why didn't you do that at the beginning when your son's name come up the first time?
Well, Jennifer Wood, Director of Research at Fitz News, who's been on the case from the very beginning. Jennifer, it may have had to do with the last thing Alex Murdaugh or Maggie wanted to do is speak out and bring attention to themselves in any way, because all of Alex Murdaugh's dirty laundry would then be, forced into the public. He wanted to just keep his head down and keep doing drugs.
That's a really good point. I mean, that could be exactly why they didn't say anything.
Another issue, Jennifer Wood, joining us from fitznews.com, is the whole jury tampering claim is slowing down the SLED investigation into the death of Stephen Smith. Would you agree with that?
I would hope SLED has enough agents to handle both investigations simultaneously, but it does seem to be slowing things down quite a bit.
Ms. Smith, I can't help but believe that a jury tampering investigation, which is going to require an evidentiary hearing, which means both sides have to get ready and go to court with witnesses, that's going to be a big deal. I don't know if that will be open court or in camera. We'll ask Ronnie Richter that. In camera means behind closed doors with the judge. But I know that you feel very strongly that with a second autopsy, you are going to get justice. Is that correct?
I do believe that with all my heart. My attorney, Eric, talked to Chief Keel, and he reassured us that they are still working this case. It's just been slow because of the jury tampering stuff, and then so SLED was taken off of Stephen to interview all those people, the jurors. But in my heart, I know that they're doing what they can to get this solved. And I know they have a grand jury impaneled, and I'm just waiting on that one little truth to pop out so an arrest can't be made.
And what are your thoughts about the fact that there are two people of interest right now?
I really don't know if they had anything to do with it, but I know there's somebody out there that knows something. And I know that they're probably parents now. And they wouldn't want this to go through what I'm going through. And I don't want them to go through what I'm going through. But now they need to put themselves in my shoes, because you might be a mother, you might be a father. And I pray that if you know something, that you're going to say something to just expose it. I mean, he mattered. Stephen mattered. And it's like ripped our family apart, but we're still holding on for justice.
Jennifer Wood, what can you tell me about two possible persons of interest in the Stephen Smith murder?
So we have heard that the investigation has focused on two possible persons of interest. Whether or not they've gone in front of a grand jury, we don't know, because grand jury proceedings are secret. But, I think this case is going to come down to somebody saying something. Somebody knows what happened that night. I think more than one somebody knows.
Ronnie Richter, agree or disagree?
100% agree. Yeah, more than one person knows. We've heard the same thing about two persons of interest. The grand jury is a star chamber in South Carolina, so we would never know when it's going to happen. But yeah, the hope is, again, that somebody breaks and finally does the right thing and shares what they know.
Todd Shipley, digital cybercrime expert. If there are two POIs, persons of interest, can't we go back to that night and trace their phones to find out where they were?
Well, that ends up being a little more difficult because we don't have those probably in evidence now, and people tend to change their phones, over time. So we may not be able to have that kind of evidence on them specifically, but the existing phone is there and the contacts in that phone are there. There's a lot of information that I haven't seen yet that I don't understand why law enforcement isn't tracing it down, because that's going to show, the phone will show where he was and who he had contact with, because we all live and die by our phones now. And so that information is going to be there if we look for it, and we haven't seen it yet.
Dr. Michelle Dupre joining us again, who oversaw the new autopsy on teen boy Stephen Smith. There's never a dull moment, let me say, in the Alex Murdaugh saga. There's always a new twist and turn. And they are going to be gnashing their teeth and twitching their tails to get a new trial for Alex Murdaugh. I bet you anything, After I sat through his testimony in the first trial, I guarantee he will not take the stand a second time. But Dr. Dupre, regarding Stephen Smith, you say there's a nearly 8-inch fracture to his head. What do you believe it was caused by?
Nancy, I believe that it was caused by something on a vehicle. Again, a ladder, a extended mirror, even maybe something like a hook on a wrecker, something on a vehicle, but not the vehicle itself.
Because he wasn't harmed from the head down. It was just, if he was hit by a car, there would be trauma all over his body. But it's just the skull fracture. Well, isn't that by definition a hit and run?
It is. And so that is the proper designation for the death certificate. It is atypical in this case.
Atypical, why?
Because the vehicle itself did not hit him.
I don't know if I agree with that, Ronnie Richter. I mean, if a part of a vehicle hits somebody, that's still it's hit and run.
Well, it's also called leaving the scene of an accident involving grave bodily injury, which is a very serious felony in South Carolina. So
it's also called vehicular homicide. Has everybody lost their mind? Vehicular homicide.
We're saying the same thing. It's a very serious felony in South Carolina, and whether there was intent to murder Stephen or not is a different issue. It would be impossible not to know that you struck him, not to know that you caused serious injury, and to make the
Ronnie
decision
Richter,
to leave.
don't tune up, please. That same tired song. I didn't mean to. No intent. You run somebody over. They're lying in the street, the road, dying in the middle of the night, and you take off. Oh, HELLNO. A jury's going to get that person, no matter how much they cry and carry on that they didn't mean to. They have put his mother through hell for 8 years, and that's exactly where they're going to go. So Jennifer Wood, Director of Research, Fit News, is SLED really on Stephen Smith's case, or do I need to light another fire under somebody's tail?
I think keep lighting the fires, but, I do think they are actively working this one.
Okay.
Nancy?
Please jump in, Karen, start.
Well, I think the most relevant thing here is what his mom said, which is that Stephen matters. He mattered and he matters. That's really important. Nobody paid enough attention to this boy. And it's just not acceptable. And it's excellent that they're doing it now because he matters. He does matter.
We wait as the evidence unfolds. Goodbye, friend. Guys, thank you.
Well, hopefully they'll get some answers for him. I want to know what would have hit him. Yeah. I was thinking, what if it was like something out of the back of a truck? Like a board or something, and it was just hanging out the back of it. People on them back roads too, they be driving illegal. Like today I saw, this was actually in downtown Columbus. I was so surprised, but I would see this on back roads like that a lot. Like where I'm from a smaller town where there's like those back kind of country roads. But today we saw a guy towing another vehicle by just like straps that you would strap something down to your car with. But that's what he was pulling the other vehicle with. The two straps were hooked up to his car, to the other car. And I'm like, oh, this is illegal. But what if they were doing something like that? Like a board sitting out of the back of like a 2x4 or something. I don't know. Because I would hit you going that way. I don't know. Man. And that's a big 8 inches. She didn't say if it was like all the way. She said it was like cracked. Now I'm wondering if it was how many inches down, like deep it was. Because that would tell you how fast the person was going, right? Like the impact would be like the depth too. Well, that Michelle Dupre was there at autopsy. So I'm wondering like what she knows that we don't know. For her to say she thinks it was something out of a car, Yeah. You think that someone would have stopped Mike, but if they were doing something illegal themselves, like just having like their car, just maybe, okay, this is going to sound stupid, but I could see somebody drinking and driving or driving without a license or something stupid as crap. And where you should definitely pull over and stop. Because obviously you hit somebody, but I could see people just pulling off and leaving the scene, not realizing maybe they thought maybe that was a deer or something, Maybe they reassured themselves or something, because maybe they did see Stephen. Maybe he walked out of the woods somehow. Maybe he did. His mom said he would never walk out of the woods towards a car. Maybe he did. He saw a car coming. Maybe he's like, I'd rather get a ride to the gas station that night. But maybe when he stepped out, the car hit him. And then maybe that car was like, oh, that could have been a deer. It was probably a deer, like reassuring themselves. And then when they got home, maybe they didn't hear about it for a couple of days. And then they heard about it and they're like, well, crap, we hit him. We can't say that we did it. I'm gonna bet you it's gonna be something like that. I feel like that's just my opinion. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be like, I mean, it could be something nefarious. It could be. I mean, definitely whoever hit him, they should have stopped. And I'm pretty sure they probably were aware that they hit something. If it was something out of the back of your car, you're gonna know you hit something, But I could see somebody rationalizing it in their head like that was a deer. I mean, that back road just reminds me of back roads where I'm from. Maybe it's different. Maybe there's no deer over there, but we have a deer problem over here. I'm just saying, like, maybe they were like rationalizing it. There's nothing. I mean, you should just stop. But anything's possible. I'm just thinking, if it's not Buster, if he was like out of town or if he was doing something, I mean, the only reason why they're saying, I guess, him is because he lived close to where it happened. But man. Oh yeah, he wasn't. Yes, you're right, Isabel, because they did find his wallet in the car. See, I didn't really do a whole lot of Stephen Smith like during Alec Murdaugh, because I didn't think that they were connected in my mind. I just didn't know. I didn't see it. So I didn't do like a full blown live on Stephen Smith. I know a lot of people did them. We talked about it, but we didn't really like go in depth. Now I feel like I need to like go in depth. Because now I feel like I need to know more. I want to know more. I really want to know more about it. I've seen like, News Nation and things of that nature, like with his mom on there, Stephen's mom, but I haven't really seen her like she was on Nancy's. But I was reading earlier, I'm going to kind of segue to another case really quick that we were talking about earlier. So Jan, because me and Jan were talking about this earlier, and everyone in the chat's like, what are they talking about? So earlier in the chat, we found out that the DNA came back for Asa Ellerup, Rex Heuermann's wife, in the Long Island serial killing case. And I guess she does match up to the victims. Now I need to dig more into it, because in this People article, I knew that there was hairs found on Maureen Bernard Barnes. That's the one that he is not charged with, but he is a suspect of. And because I got that right? She's the one, like Maureen is the one. I'm saying that right. But they're saying that they found one hair on her. Let me see. I was, see if I could pull it up, but I'm accidentally came out of the article. Let me see. Yeah. So they found one hair on her. I'm trying to see about the other victims, if I could tell you how, because I know that they had hairs on all of them. Okay, here it is. It says prosecutors say one hair was found on Maureen, 2 were found on Meagan Waterman, and another piece of hair was found on Amber Costello. Yeah. It says back in 2010, those hairs were not suitable for nuclear or traditional DNA testing. Luckily, investigators collected the evidence anyways, because it says then as technology progressed, there's this thing called mitochondrial DNA, and they became more suitable for that. Wow. Just over the last 13 years. Don't do anything. Don't do any crimes. So I'm wondering, now I'm so curious, like, which one did they match her up to? Because if it's a girl that they're not even charging him with yet, then he's going to be charged. Oh man, tomorrow might be a big day. See you later. Have a good night. I don't know. I was reading the chat. You think that they could have placed him back there too, Stephen? So his wife's hair was found on the, yeah. So Paige, so we knew that there was hair, like we suspected it was his wife. So when I read that I read the article to you guys actually, and I think I might've said like they suspected it was, but in my head, for some reason I was like, yeah, they were hers, but I guess they just confirmed it through DNA testing that it was hers. But I don't know about the one on Marine. Now that's the one I need to sleuth a little bit. Let's see if there's anything. I mean, I would assume that it would be like trending on Twitter right now, and there's nothing like on like trending right now. Do you know what I mean? If they found more it on Marine, so I'm gonna keep my eyes peeled and yeah, because I want to know who they found it on. I'm sorry, I was looking on Twitter, gotten a little dazed there. Yeah. So if they connect, okay, that's just, how could she, okay, I don't know if she was out of town all of those times, but if they end up finding that hair on Marine, they might be able to place her where she wasn't out of town. And then she won't be able to do no little Peacock podcast thing, documentary deal, because she'll be hanging with Rex. I mean, she did go visit Rex in jail after, her name got brought into it. She did start going to his court hearing. She went to his court hearing after her name got brought into it. It's just very strange to me. My red flags are back here. I need to bring those up here on my desk so I can be waving them. I haven't waved my red flags in a while. But that's all I got for you tonight. I can't believe we're actually talked about Alec Murdaugh again. Because, I mean, he's never going to leave us alone, is he? He's never going to leave us alone. He looks like he's doing pretty well in jail, too. I mean, he looks like he's eating all right. Looked like, his hair was back. He's probably excited about that. He's probably got pen pals, whatever you have, yeah. Ooh, I don't even want to know. But I think that's all I've got. So tomorrow, like I said, we'll cover Preston Lord. And then what is tomorrow? Tomorrow's the 30th. December 1st, we'll cover Idaho. They're supposed to have like all the IgG information in and all that stuff. We'll see what happens. We'll see if we hear anything on the 1st. I don't know. We'll see. But thank you guys all for being here tonight. I appreciate it so much. I will see you guys all tomorrow evening. Have a good night, guys. Hopefully you guys get some good rest, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.